I'm a 22-year-old college dropout. I spend my days essentially rotting away in my room playing video games. I don't have any sort of long-term prospects. I don't have friends, a girlfriend, and my day looks like this. I wake up at like 3 p.m. That's how bad my sleep pattern was at this point. I lie in my bed and check my social medias. I go straight onto Discord and I see what my friends are doing, if they've messaged me. And then if I see my Discord friends online and they're playing a game, then I'll roll out of bed and jump straight onto my gaming PC. I wouldn't dress, I wouldn't brush my teeth, I wouldn't shower, I would immediately turn my PC on. Then I'd join the group Discord call where everyone was congregated playing games together. I'd load up my Rocket League, and while the game was loading, I would go downstairs and I'd make myself a drink. Then I'd set my PC and I'd play the game for 6 hours straight sometimes. I wouldn't even eat at this point. Most of the time I would forget to drink water. I would literally engulf myself inside of the game. But then after the 6 hours passed, it was usually about 9-10 p.m. now, and my friends were going to sleep because they lived a semi-normal life. So then I'd be hit with the prospect of being alone. And this was very scary for me because I had cripplingly bad mental health. And any time I spent alone was time I spent battling my own mental demons. So I'd start solo queuing games which had a voice chat so I could at least speak to people. And on my second monitor, I'd also have a Twitch streamer. And the streamer I'd usually be watching would be some streamer who plays similar games to me, who I have some sort of weird parasocial relationship with. And that would usually be enough noise to dampen my mental demons. And then 2 a.m. would hit and I would be like, oh yeah, I've not eaten all day. So I would probably make my first meal at 2 a.m. Usually some frozen pizza or a frozen macaroni cheese. I'd stick that in the microwave, eat that, and then I'd stay awake until I was so exhausted that as soon as my head hit the pillow, I would be straight asleep. And I felt like I had to do that because if I didn't exhaust myself to that point, I would have to lie in bed. And the only stimulation I could have while lying in bed was something on my phone. And at this point, that wasn't even enough to dampen my own thoughts. I had fucked myself that hard that I genuinely couldn't have a split second to myself without some sort of stimulation before my brain started to betray me. And this didn't happen overnight. This happened over a multi-year period, but it got that bad. My sleep pattern was literally backwards. I didn't eat, I barely drank any water, I didn't brush my teeth, I didn't shower, I didn't look after myself, and I didn't have any sort of thought as to what my future would look like because I didn't think I'd make it past 25 anyway. I remember by the time I was going to sleep, my mom would be waking up to go to work and she'd see me like almost delirious with how tired I was. She would offer to make me a cup of tea, and more often than not, by the time she had actually went downstairs, made me the tea and came back upstairs with it, I would be asleep. Maybe you're in somewhat of a similar situation right now. Hopefully not as terrible as it was for me, but maybe there's some similarities in some regard. Maybe you don't care as much for your future prospects as you would like. Maybe your lifestyle and the choices you make on a day-to-day basis, micro decisions or grander scale decisions, are self-sabotaging. Maybe you make the wrong decisions when it comes to your diet, whether you should do some work, whether you brush your teeth, and you're probably aware of the crushing consequences of continuing to betray yourself in that manner. More likely than not, hopefully, you have some level of ambition. Should I say that? Because I didn't have any ambition back then. I was just thinking like, oh, hopefully you have some level of ambition, but I didn't at that point. Hopefully you do have some ambition, but if you don't, all I can tell you is, as someone who has escaped that life cycle, that negative feedback loop that you're in, I've felt the depths of it. I've felt the depths of the pain and the anguish and the hopelessness that you're stuck in right now. All I can say is life could be so much more. It can be so much better. And you should have an ambition to change, because if you don't have an ambition to change, there's a reason for that. Why are we this way? In my experience, the reason why I was in this situation was because I was hopelessly trying to escape my reality. I was trying to escape pain. And perhaps you're in a similar situation. Maybe you're escaping a similar pain to me. Maybe you're escaping a different type of pain. Maybe it's a pain that your parents caused you, or that school has caused you, or friends. Maybe it's like me, and it's more of a deep subconscious pain, which you haven't even acknowledged mentally just yet. But it's something that you've witnessed, or it's something that you've lived, that you're not yet able to consciously put your finger on. And by clicking on this video, you're at a crossroads now. You have an incredibly important decision to make. You click this video because you resonate with the title. What the fuck am I doing with my life? That is the exact sentence I would say to myself nearly every single day during this period of my life. Somewhat in a self-deprecating, humorous way, but because self-deprecation was pretty much all I knew at this point, because my self-esteem was so unbelievably crushed at this point. But really, deep below the surface, I had let go of control over my life, because taking responsibility for my circumstances, which landed me in this daily routine I had, terrified me. It absolutely fucking terrified me. And the truth be told, despite how unfair life may have been to me, my day looking like how I described was entirely my fault. And the thing is, back then, I didn't have someone to tell me that it was my fault. I had the world trying to take the responsibility off my shoulders. No, Sam, it's not your fault because you have clinical depression. No, Sam, it's not your fault because the government did this and that, and that's why you're this way. No, Sam, it's not your fault because other people treated you this way, and so therefore obviously you're going to feel that way about it. No, Sam, of course it's not your fault, you're just unlucky. Whatever it may have been, it was usually a cocktail of numerous different things which made it not my fault. The problem is, this shackled me for years mentally. I was mentally imprisoned because I had relinquished all responsibility from myself, and I put it into an external factor which I had no control over. And I know that I might risk offending some of you watching this. Having someone tell you that it is your fault can feel quite abrasive, and you might be getting defensive right now. But I promise you, I'm telling you this out of total love for you and for you to be able to grow. Because like I say, once you relinquish control over something and you pass off the responsibility onto something which you have no control over, it's over for you. You can't change anything. You have no reason to try and change anything because you don't have control over the external factor. It's like when you're blowing up a balloon and you're holding it on the end. You can either take control over that balloon and tie the knot, or you could let go of the balloon and it will lose control, fly around everywhere, deflating, and then it'll fall to the ground and fucking die. You've watched this video this far. Hopefully you understand what I'm trying to say here. By giving you the responsibility, it might make you extremely uncomfortable, but I'm passing over the control to change back to you. The world is trying to take that control away from you because they don't want you to actually grow. They want you to be a good boy who doesn't ask too many questions, who consumes, buys a bunch of shit, doesn't cause too many problems, isn't too ambitious, which is why they try to take the control away from you. And you haven't clicked away from this video. A lot of people have probably already clicked away at the idea as soon as I've mentioned that perhaps a reason why they're feeling depressed is their fault. They've immediately took offense, clicked away. Fuck this guy. He has no idea what I've been through. I do. I was there. And I wish to God that someone had told me at this point that it's your fucking fault, rather than everyone always telling me that it was something else's fault. Because when someone did tell me it was my fault, I would be offended for a brief period of time before I realized, yes, this person is actually gunning for me. They actually want me to stop living like this and to enjoy my life. But many can't hack that. They can't push through that initial discomfort. They'll hate me for saying this, but your depression is entirely your fault. It is entirely in your hands to change. You've not got a mystery illness. God hasn't bestowed upon you a disease which just makes you sad for the rest of your life. Your circumstances may suck, but I promise you, there's people in the world whose circumstances are far, far worse, and they're happier than you, so that's bullshit. It's your choice and your fault that you are depressed. So now here's your choice. I told you earlier, you're at an important crossroad. You have an important decision to make now. You can take the red pill and you can take responsibility responsibility over your life. You can take back control, despite how painful that might be initially. You can suffer through the mental anguish for a brief period of time before your life starts to get better. Or you can take the blue pill. You can close this video, leave this channel, and forget I exist. And you can plug back into your choice of escapism. And you can continue to pass off responsibility for your own circumstances to outside factors which you have no control over. And you can continue haunting your own subconscious mind with the question, what am I doing with my life? I hope this video is helpful. If you want to learn how to make money online from the comfort of your bedroom or traveling the world with your laptop, I teach over 500 of my students how to do exactly that. And as you can see on the screen here, we're getting excellent results inside of my academy. You could be next. Take care, boys.